I never thought the day I would see Lyra again would come. We had grown up together on the remote colony of Karath, 7, two misfits among the harsh desert sands and distant mountains. As children, we had shared secret hideouts, scavenged derelict satellites, and laughed under the twin moons of our dusty world. She was wild, fearless, and endlessly curious, a force of nature that always left me in awe. Then she was gone. The message arrived one quiet evening years later. The handwriting was elegant, almost alien in its perfection, and the symbol at the bottom made my stomach drop. The sigil of the Ryath Empire. Return to Karath. Your presence is requested. I didn't know what to expect. Maybe an emergency, a ceremonial matter. I had no idea. Boarding my shuttle, I felt a mix of excitement and dread. This was the world where I had spent my childhood, but I was no longer the boy who had raced across the dunes with Lyra. Time had changed us both. Arrival. The shuttle touched down in the central plaza, and I felt the familiar warmth of the sun on my face. Karath, 7 had changed too. Gleaming spires now pierced the sky where sand dunes had once stretched endlessly. I walked through the plaza cautiously, expecting someone to greet me formally, perhaps with an escort or guards. Instead, I saw her. Lyra. She stood atop the palace steps, taller than I remembered, regal in her bearing, draped in flowing robes that shimmered like liquid silver. Her hair, once tied in messy braids, now cascaded down her back like a river of starlight. Her eyes, still the same violet I remembered from childhood, now held a depth of authority that took my breath away. Ethan, she said, her voice carrying across the plaza, strong yet familiar. You came. I froze, stunned. Lyra, you're a queen. A small, almost playful smile tugged at her lips. And you're just as surprised as I hoped. Reunion and revelation. We sat in her private gardens, a space suspended high above the city, filled with alien flora that glowed softly in the twilight. It smelled faintly of rain and jasmine, a combination I had never known could exist in this galaxy. I never expected to see you again, I admitted, my voice almost a whisper. Not like this. Not as a queen. Lyra laughed, the sound musical yet tinged with melancholy. Nor did I. The Empire chose me long ago. I was barely a teenager when they began grooming me for this role. I had no choice, only duty. I remember the girl who climbed the cliffs with me, who stole fruit from the market, who raced me across the dunes. That girl didn't bow to anyone. I shook my head. How did you become this? Her expression softened. I learned that power can be a tool if wielded wisely. But it doesn't define who I am. Inside, I am still the same Lyra who laughed with you under the twin moons. That part of me never left. Hearing this, I felt a strange warmth in my chest. A mix of relief, nostalgia, and something I couldn't name. The palace and politics. Lyra insisted I tour the palace, and I was astounded by the scale of her domain. Towering halls of crystal, corridors lined with alien tapestries depicting centuries of Ryath history, and chambers that glimmered with energy I couldn't fully comprehend. Everywhere I looked, I felt the weight of responsibility she carried, and I realized just how much she had sacrificed to reach this point. Why bring me here? I finally asked, unable to keep the question from my mind. She hesitated, looking out over the city below. Because the Empire is at a crossroads. Rivals seek to destabilize the northern sectors. I need someone I can trust, someone who knows me, someone who reminds me what I'm fighting for. Her words were both personal and political, a reminder of the fine line she walked every day. I felt honored but also terrified. I was just a man raised on a dusty outpost, not a political strategist or warrior queen. Lyra, I trailed off, unsure what I could possibly say. You were always brave, Ethan, she said softly, stepping closer. Even when you didn't know it. That's why I asked you to come. A dangerous mission. No sooner had I begun to acclimate than trouble arrived. Messengers brought news of a coup in the neighboring system, a faction seeking to exploit her absence to seize power. Lyra moved quickly, assembling her council and delegating tasks. And then she looked at me. You will accompany me, she said. My stomach twisted. Me? Why me? I'm not. You've survived more than you realize, she interrupted. And you know me. That's invaluable. I need someone I can trust. Within hours, we were aboard her flagship, hurtling toward the contested system. I watched Lyra command her officers with precision, issuing orders that could decide the fate of thousands. And yet, every so often, she would glance at me, and I'd catch the flicker of the playful girl I remembered. That girl had not disappeared. She was layered beneath the mantle of her office, guiding her with wisdom and compassion. The battle. The first skirmish came swiftly. Enemy ships emerged from the shadows of an asteroid belt, firing plasma cannons that lit the void in crimson arcs. Lyra's flagship moved with grace, her crew responding instantly to her commands. "Ethan, man the tactical station," she ordered. "I'll need you alert." Hands shaking, I obeyed, coordinating with the engineers to reinforce shields and direct countermeasures. Lyra fought alongside her crew, her energy blade slicing through boarders who had attempted to breach the vessel. I had never seen her like this, majestic, terrifying, unstoppable. And yet, every so often our eyes would meet, a silent reassurance passing between us. We repelled the attack, but it was only the beginning. The enemy had underestimated her resolve, and her bond with me. Quiet moments. After the battle, she found me on the observation deck, staring out at the endless stars. "You did well," she said quietly. "Better than I expected." I shrugged, though I felt proud. "I just followed your lead. You make it look easy." She laughed softly. "It's not. But I have to be strong. For my people and for those I care about." I turned to her. "I always cared, Lyra. Even back then She silenced me with a gentle hand on my shoulder. "And I always knew. That's why I brought you back into my life." Her words hung in the air, unspoken emotions bridging the years of separation. I realized then that my feelings had never faded, only been buried beneath time and distance. And weeks passed as we strengthened defenses, negotiated alliances, and secured her claim as queen of the northern sectors. With each challenge, our bond grew stronger, grounded in trust, shared history, and unspoken understanding. One night, after a council meeting had stretched into the early hours, she invited me to walk along the palace terraces. The twin moons of Karath, 7 cast silver light over the gardens, and the air was cool with the scent of alien blooms. "Do you remember," she said softly, "the nights we spent racing across the dunes? We thought the stars were ours to reach." I smiled, memories flooding back. "I remember. You always won, of course. And yet," she whispered, stepping closer, "you stayed by my side. You never left." Her gaze held mine, and the vulnerability in her eyes was disarming. "Ethan, I am queen now, with responsibilities and burdens you can't imagine. And yet, I want you with me. Not as an advisor, not as a soldier, but as more. As the one who knows my heart." I took a deep breath. "Lyra, I've carried these feelings for years. Seeing you again, fighting alongside you. I've realized I don't want to just stand beside you. I want to share everything with you. Every challenge, every victory, every quiet moment." Tears glimmered in her eyes, but they were tears of joy. She leaned close, and I felt the warmth of her hand against mine. "Then we face this together," she said. "As equals, as partners, as more." And in that instant, beneath the twin moons, the city of Karath, 7 felt smaller. The universe felt vast, dangerous, yet conquerable, because we faced it together. I had returned to my childhood home expecting uncertainty, and instead I found destiny. Lyra had grown into a queen, wise and formidable. But beneath it all, she remained the friend I had cherished as a child. Now she was also the companion, the partner, and the love I had never dared to hope for. As the moons reflected in her eyes, I realized the truth of our journey. We had always been meant to find our way back to each other. And no matter what the galaxy threw at us, we would stand together, 2 souls bound by history, trust, and an unbreakable bond. The stars stretched endlessly above, but with Lyra by my side, I felt as though we had claimed our place among them, unshaken, unafraid, and together.